All right, good morning. Let's start today in child's pose on our mats. So find a child's pose that works for you. Sometimes the traditional child's pose can be uncomfortable for some of us, so don't feel like you have to do that. If the hips go all the way back toward the heels and the knees are fine, stay that way, but you lift the hips up if the knees are bothering you, and they can go up as high as you want until they start to quiet down. And everything else stays the same. Forehead still comes down to the mat or a block, hands are out in front of you. But if the knees are okay, then pull the hips back. And then same thing with the upper body, the shoulders. This is a pretty deep opening for the upper body and the shoulders. And some of us, it's too deep too soon. So if there is one shoulder, you can just, that's bothering you, you could just bring the hand in and let it rest and give it more time. If it's both shoulders, you can just bring the arms back behind you and take your time coming into it. Or maybe you just don't reach as far forward. So lots of different ways to modify your child's pose. If your upper body's okay with this pose, then start to crawl the fingertips forward, continue to pull the hips back. And then notice if you're reaching the shoulders up toward the ears, pull those back toward the hips, but continue reaching with the fingertips forward. So you're reaching with the arms and not the shoulders. And start to take a deeper breath in through the nose. Back out through the nose, nice and slow. Deep breath in through the nose, fill all the way up. Slowly back out through the nose. Inhale in through the nose. Back out. Keep going on your own. Listening to the sound of your own breath. Feeling the space the breath's making throughout the body. Already deep into your practice, just with the breath and in this one shape. Start to lift the head up. Come to hands and knees. So just walk the hands in, bring the knees all the way together and tuck the toes underneath you. So we're coming into a toe tuck. You could start to walk the hands back. If your feet are tight, don't feel like you need to sit all the way up onto the heels. If they feel okay, sit up onto the heels. Make sure the fourth and fifth toe are going straight forward and not curling under you. Sometimes it's nice to check and then just manually get them there. Hands can rest on the thighs. If you're sitting on the heels, sit up as tall as you can. And it's up to you how much weight you put on the feet. So for some of us, this can be really intense, but the more we practice it, the more the feet get open. So take a break whenever you need to. You can come to the tops of the feet if you want. Reach the arms forward, palms facing up, and bring the right arm on top of the left arm. Coming into eagle arm. So you could just start by grabbing the shoulders, or you could bring the backs of the forearms together. You could even sneak the left fingertips inside of the right hand. Shoulders away from the ears. If the forearms are together, maybe you start to reach the fingertips up, finding a nice space across the upper back. So nothing too deep. We're just starting out. And you keep squeezing the feet together. So if you feel like the heels are kicking out, keep holding them in, trying to keep the weight even on the feet. And then reach the arms forward, cross the other way, left arm on top of right. Find your eagle arms on this side, shoulders away from the ears, hugging the belly in, maybe reaching the fingertips up. Then gently release the arms, come forward onto hands and knees, untuck the toes and sit back onto the heels. So now you're stretching the feet and the ankles the other way, knees and feet still together. And then from here, you'll bring the arms out wide, make fists with the hands, and then turn the palms to face behind you and bring the fists together behind the back. So you're pressing the elbows back as you sit up really tall. So sometimes the lower front ribs want to puff out. Hug them in a little bit so you lengthen the spine. Core will kick on here. and that you're rising up through the crown of the head. So looking straight forward is helpful. Maybe find one spot in front of you that you can focus on. And then once you stop moving the eyes, focus on your breath. Feeling the tops of the feet stretch, the tops of the ankles, and the shoulders. Shoulders still moving away from the ears. Maybe you press the elbows back a little bit more. Then bring the hands down to the mat. So hands right in front of you, knees and feet still together. We can come into a deeper ankle stretch. You can just play around with this. Maybe you start to walk the hands back. You can even come up onto the fingertips. Some of you might be comfortable lifting the knees up. Tops of the feet are still down on the mat. And that's a deeper ankle stretch. You're just reaching the heart forward, trying to bring the knees in toward the chest as much as that's comfortable for you. And if this is new, just take it really slow and you don't have to lift the knees up all that high. And set the knees back down onto the mat. Walk the hands forward and then just bring the feet over to one side, come to seated on the mat. So legs are coming out in front of you. You want to be in the middle of the mat. So if you're way back, just get the hips more toward the center of the mat. And then from here, lie down onto your back. Make sure the head's still supported with the mat. And then reach the legs up. And from here, let's just open up the legs a little bit. So press the heels up, the toes down toward the face, and then lower that left leg. So it's just hovering above the mat and grab onto the back of the right thigh. And you're bringing that right leg in toward the body. If this feels like too much for the legs, you can always bring the sole of the left foot to the mat. If it feels fine to hover that left foot and press it out away from you, then stay there. And you could walk the hands up the leg. If you're feeling really open, just take it easy. We're just starting out, so see what's working for you. Hug the core in, bring that left leg back up to meet the right leg and switch sides. Right leg comes down, hang on to the back of the left thigh. You always have the option to bring the sole of the right foot to the mat. You can even rest the heel if it's too much. But what's nice about hovering that right heel is you can keep that right leg firm as you press out through the sole of the right foot. Maybe you start to walk the hands up the left leg, bringing the leg in a little closer, feeling where your stretch is without too much force. Hug the core in, bring that right leg up to meet the left leg. And then from here, reach the arms up, interlace the fingers, all of them except for the index fingers. So steeple mudra. Lower the left leg down so that it's hovering over the mat. So legs stay in this L shape and you're pressing out through both soles of the feet. And then lift the chest and the head up, point outside of the right leg. So you're trying to get both shoulder blades up and away from the mat. Just the right leg moves. Lower the right leg down to meet the left. Inhale it back up. Right leg comes down. Inhale back up. Right leg down on the exhale. Inhale back up. Right leg down. Inhale back up. One more. Right leg down. Inhale back up. Left leg reaches up. Point outside of the left hip. Get both shoulder blades up and away. Lower that right leg. Keep the shoulder blades lifted, hugging the core in. Lower that left leg down to meet the right. Inhale back up. Exhale down. Just the left leg. Inhale back up. Lower down. Inhale back up. Lower down. Inhale back up. One more. Lower down. Inhale back up. Bring the right leg up so both legs reach up. Reach both arms forward outside of the legs. So you're still hugging the belly in, keeping the chest lifted, and you're just reaching forward. And then from here, keep the chest lifted. Interlace the fingers back behind the head, elbows nice and wide. Inhale back halfway. Exhale up. So you're just doing little pulses. Inhale back halfway. Exhale up. Inhale back halfway. Exhale up. 2 more. Inhale back halfway. Exhale up. Inhale back halfway. Exhale up. Reach the arms forward. Lower both legs down, hovering the heels above the mat. So squeeze those legs together. Take this to Navasana, boat pose. So chest is lifted, belly hugs in, inner thighs squeezed together. You're reaching forward, but looking up. And then set the feet down onto the mat. Cross the legs, easy cross-legged seat, shift side to side until you feel even on the hips. Reach the arms all the way up and fold over the legs, coming into a hip opening. Let the head and the neck go. Close the eyes. Walk the hands back in, sit back, switch the crossing of the legs, other shin in front, maybe shift side to side. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up and fold back down over the legs. And start to walk the hands in, sit up tall. You can bring the hands to the knees. And as you sit up tall, we'll take some Sufi rolls to open up the spine. So on an inhale, come forward over the right knee, then to the left knee. And on the exhale, hang onto the knees, round the spine. Keep going in this direction, right to left. Exhale back, inhale forward. Eyes open or closed. See how the spine feels. You make these circles as big or as small as you want them to be. Something to keep in mind too, if you have any big meals ahead of you, this is great for digestion. Next time you end up over the left knee, pause and just hover and switch the direction of your circles. Go to the right knee and then back. So same thing, circles going the other way. And you'll feel how the body takes a couple of cycles to adjust. And then it feels like you've been going this way the whole time. One more circle all the way around. Back up to center. And we'll come forward to hands and knees. So coming into tabletop. Once you come into tabletop, step the right toes back behind you. So toes are still down on the mat. And then spin that right heel down flat. So this left foot, it can kick out to the side. So maybe it goes off the mat. That's a nice way to just give yourself a wider base. Left hand can come out to the left a little bit too. Maybe that comes off the mat. Reach the right arm up. So you're opening up across the chest. Get control of the outer hips. And then maybe you start to lift that right leg up. Toes point straight forward toward the side. And that keeps that right hip pointing toward the side. Reach the right arm up and over the ear. And then get as long as you can from the right fingertips to the sole of the right foot. Keep hugging that core in. Take an inhale. On the exhale, right elbow, right knee come together. So it's a whole lot of core as you bring those together. And then inhale, extend. 2 more like that. Exhale, elbow to knee or thigh. Inhale, extend. Last one, exhale. Inhale, extend. Get as long as you can. Right hand comes down to the mat and then you're back in tabletop. So get the knees down, left hand down, everything square. Good. Left toe step back behind you, spin that left heel down flat. Here's where we kick out the right foot. So if you're struggling with your balance on the first side, this is really important. Right hand comes out to the side, left arm reaches up. Good. Then from here, lift that outer left leg up, no higher than hip height. So you're not trying to go as high as you can. Left toes point straight forward, not up toward the sky. Reach that left arm up and over the ear. Press out through those left fingertips, sole the left foot. Take an inhale. On the exhale, elbow to thigh, elbow to knee. See what's happening. It doesn't have to be perfect. Inhale, extend, get long. Exhale, find that crunch. It's those obliques that we're trying to get into. Inhale, extend. Last one, elbow to thigh. Inhale, extend, get long, find that stretch. Left hand comes down to the mat, back to tabletop. Take your time. And then from here, stack the shoulders over the wrists, spread the fingers out wide. Take a look at the index fingers. You want those to point straight forward or a little bit out, not in. And then step the feet back behind you, plank pose. So you're pulling the legs back and reaching the heart forward, lifting the belly up toward the sternum, and the tops of the thighs are lifting up toward the sky. So some of this might feel like a good stretch. It's also a whole lot of core, but full body too. And then if you feel like you're locking the elbows, see if you can put the tiniest bend in the elbows, not one you can see, but one you can feel. Press down into all 10 fingertips. And then see if you can lift the center of the palm up. So you're pressing down into the circumference of the hand. And then lower all the way down to the mat slowly. Maybe you hover just above the mat and then set yourself down all at the same time. Tops of the feet come to the mat, feet hip width distance apart. Reach the arms back behind you, palms face one another. As you press into the tops of the feet, point the tailbone back and lift the belly away from the mat. Lift and spread the chest, like someone has your wrists and they're pulling them back as you reach the heart forward. So you want to be as long as you can. Then exhale, let that go. Make a pillow with the hands and just rest the head down on the hands. Or you can turn the head to one side. Let the legs go. And we'll do 2 more back bends like that one. So come back to center, outer ankles hug in, reach the arms back behind you, lift and spread the chest, reach those arms back behind you, the toes way back of the neck stays long, and exhale, release. Turn the head, let the ankles roll out. Back to center, tops of the feet press down. And you want to press down on the tops of the feet, the pinky toe side of the foot and the big toe side of the foot. Sometimes we roll into the inner edges or the outer edges. See if you can keep that even. Bring the arms back behind you, lift and spread the chest. You're squeezing the hands together to keep the arms firm. Lower back as long as you point the tailbone back. One more lift on your inhale and exhale. Let it all go. Rest. Child's pose, hands down to the mat, come up to hands and knees, sit the hips back, forehead down. Keep in an active child's pose, crawl those hands forward if that's working. Hips go back toward the heels if your knees are okay with that. Take it to downward facing dog. Look forward, tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back. So first downward facing dog, pedal out the feet or take a wider stance with the feet. You could even bring the feet to the outer edges of the mat, especially if the legs are on the tighter side. But we definitely want the feet at least hip width distance apart so they're not touching in your downward facing dog. And that just gives you more space in the lower back instead of taking away space there. Then start to bend the knees, look forward, walk the feet up to the hands. Take your time, take several steps to get there. No rush, forward fold at the top of the mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. 2 more like that. Inhale up halfway. Think cobra in the upper body. Exhale, fold. Last one. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold, circle the arms all the way up to standing. Bring the hands together overhead, down in front of the heart. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, forward fold all the way back down. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fingertips to the mat. Step the left foot back behind you. Set that back knee down, coming into a low lunge. So dig into that right heel, reach the arms forward and all the way up. Once you get there, grab that left wrist with the right index finger and thumb. Pull the left wrist up and then over to the right. So you feel really long in the whole left quad, left side of the torso, all the way up through those left fingertips. Back to center with the upper body. Reach both arms up. Bring the hands down to the mat. Back toes tuck. Lift the back knee. Straighten the front leg. Fold over the front leg. So it's a modified pyramid pose. You're staying high on the ball of the back foot, and you're reaching the heart forward over that right leg. Let the head and the neck go at the same time. Inhale forward to your lunge. Big step. Step that left foot up to meet the right foot. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fingertips down to the mat. Step the right foot way back, runner's lunge. Back knee comes down. Dig into that left heel. Reach the arms forward and up for your low lunge. Grab the right wrist with the left index finger, thumb. Pull it up and over to the left. Back through to center, reach the arms up, hands come down to the mat, back toes tuck, lift the back knee, straighten the front leg, pull those hips back, reach the heart forward. So if it's too much in the left leg, you can put a little bend in the left knee. You can walk the hands back so they're more underneath the shoulders. If you're not feeling anything, then you just walk the hands forward until you do. Or you could lift the toes on the left foot, and that makes it a whole lot more intense. Just make sure you're open enough for that. Most of us feel enough with the foot down. Inhale forward to your lunge. Step that right foot forward, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. We're coming all the way back up to standing. Inhale the arms out to the sides. Reach the arms all the way up. Hands come together down in front of the heart. Surya A. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, bend the knees, hands to the mat, step back to plank pose, hold plank pose. Reach the heart forward. Looking forward helps elongate the body too. So if you look just ahead of the nose, sometimes that'll help you reach the chest forward, but keep pulling those legs back at the same time. Tiniest little bend in the elbows. And then you can shift forward onto the toes, bend the elbows halfway, chaturanga, tops of the feet for up dog, or come all the way down for cobra, whichever one you're ready for. Chest is nice and open wherever you are. And then back to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Bend the knees, look forward, step, walk, maybe lightly hop the feet if you feel ready for that, up to the top of the mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Circle the arms all the way up to standing. Hands come together, down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, bend the knees, hands to the mat, step back to plank pose. Hold plank for a beat. Lower down halfway, chaturanga. Back bend of your choice. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward, bring the feet up to the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Circle the arms all the way up to standing. Hands come together, down in front of the heart. Last cycle, Surya A. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Bend the knees, bring the hands to the mat, step back to plank pose. Lower down halfway, chaturanga. Inhale up for your back bend. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Lift the right leg up and back. So you're coming into a three-legged down dog. Keep those right toes pointing down toward the mat. Look forward at the hands, right knee, left triceps. You're crossing over. Hug the belly in, stack the shoulders over the wrists. Come back to three-legged down dog. Step the right foot through, up between the hands. Warrior one, hop the back foot in, seal the heel, reach the arms forward and up. Virabhadrasana 1. So you're trying to square those hips, spin that inner left thigh way back behind you, and the right inner thigh reaches forward for the lunge. You hug the belly in, and the back bend's up to you. So you can start to reach the heart up to the sky. Gaze can stay forward, but for a lot of us, it wants to go up, and that's fine. If you lifted the gaze, bring it back forward. Take this to warrior two. Open up the chest, the arms, and the stance. So heel to arch or heel to heel with the feet. Straighten the front leg. Turn those right toes in to face the side of the mat. And then root down through the legs, lift up through the chest. Left fingertips to the right foot. So go slow, keep the chest open, bring the left fingertips over to the right foot. It doesn't have to touch, right arm reaches up. And then we're slowly coming back up to center. Slowly back to center, right where we just were. Bring the heels in and the toes out. Hands come together right in front of the heart. So toes are only turning out maybe halfway, maybe less. Keep the chest lifted, press down into the feet. Start to bend the legs, coming into a wide-legged squat. So this is where it's really important to keep the knees and the toes going in the same direction. We can all, for the most part, open up our feet wider than the knees. So you definitely want to pay attention to that. Chest is lifted, lower belly lifts, tail's going down, and that'll help you get the head right over the hips. Also help you open up the hips a little bit more. Straighten the legs, come back to standing. Point the toes straight forward, angle on the left toes, turn the right toes all the way out. Warrior two facing the top of the mat, arms wide. Flip that front palm up, reverse warrior. So legs stay the same. You're just reaching away from that right thigh. Really light in the left hand. Windmill the hands down to the mat. Make your way back to downward facing dog. You can step straight there, or you can glide forward to plank pose and take a vinyasa. That's up to you. So all of these vinyasas are optional. Use them to feed your practice, not drain it. Left leg reaches up and back. Look forward, left knee, right tricep, hug the belly in, find that twist, get the right knee up high, and then come back to three-legged down dog, left leg up and back. Left foot steps up between the hands, warrior one, back foot hops in, square the hips forward, reach the arms forward. Back leg is real straight, and then you want to bend deep in that left knee as you square the hips forward. So it's an awkward pose. Hips are never going to be perfectly square. You're just working toward that. Belly hugs in, then we rise up through the heart, maybe the gaze. Gaze comes back forward. If you lifted it, to transition to warrior two. Spread the arms out wide, left foot, heel toes in a little bit toward the center of the mat. And that top of the right thigh, press it back. It'll help you straighten the right leg and get a little bit more power through the sole of the right foot. Straighten the front leg. Turn those left toes in to face the side of the mat. So toes are pointing straight forward. Right fingertips, left foot. Go slow. Use that core to find the twist and stay with your balance. Doesn't have to be perfect with where you land the hand. Reach that left arm up. Legs are squeezing together. Even the outer hips are squeezing in toward the midline. We're coming back to standing. Take your time with it. Keep the arms wide. Going slow is what builds the strength. Once you're back to center, bring the hands together in front of the heart. Turn the heels in, toes out. Be mindful of that stance and how wide you go with the feet. Press down to the legs, lift up through the chest. So feel that division of energy. Keep the chest lifted as you start to bend the knees and lower the hips, coming into your wide-legged squat, goddess pose. So we don't want the hips to go lower than the knees. So that is too low if the hips are going lower. If it's too intense, then bring the hips up higher and find a place where you can focus on your breath and still be in the pose. Press into the feet to come back up to standing, hands to the hips, toes point forward, angle on the right toes, turn the left toes all the way out, warrior two facing the top of the mat. Press that right thigh back, lengthening the left thigh forward. Flip the front palm up, reverse warrior. Windmill the hands down to the mat. Step back to downward facing dog. Stay here or optional vinyasa. From downward facing dog, bend the knees, look forward, bring the feet up to the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Chair pose, bend the knees, reach the arms up. Make sure you can see all 10 toes. Pull the knees and the hips back if you can't. Hug that core in, lift the chest, look forward or up. Press all the way up to standing. Hands come together down in front of the heart. So bring the feet all the way together. So the big toes are touching. And you can have a slight gap in the heels, like a piece of paper could fit between the heels. So they're pretty close. And then reach the arms up. Squeeze the legs together. So feel the outer hips, outer glutes, outer thighs squeezing together like you have one leg. Lift the lower belly, lift the chest, but legs are going down. And then make sure the shoulders are in place. So as you reach up, sometimes the shoulders want to go with you. Bring those in place and keep the fingertips reaching up. Find a focal point straight in front of you, something eye level. Focus on that. Lift the heels up as high as you can. So those outer ankles need to squeeze together. So you're just doing like you have one leg and you're just lifting that one heel all the way up. Keep breathing, looking straight forward. Keep squeezing the outer thighs together, outer hips. See if you can stand a little bit taller. Building some heat. And then set the heels back down. You can separate the heels a little bit more, coming into chair pose. Bend the knees. So if the big toes are touching, the knees are touching. Reach the heart forward. When the big toes aren't touching, the knees don't touch. So that's how you know where to put them. And then exhale, forward fold, let the head and the neck go. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat, make your way back, downward facing dog. So you can go straight there, optional vinyasa, skip them whatever you want. From downward facing dog, lift the right leg up and back, three-legged down dog. Right knee, left tricep, get it up high. Exhale back, three-legged down dog. Right foot steps all the way up between the hands. Virabhadrasana 1, warrior 1. Hop the back foot in, reach the arms forward and up, or forward facing warrior. That's another great way to think about it. Open it up, warrior 2. Straighten the front leg, turn the right toes in. Stand as tall as you can, fire up the legs, left hand, right foot. Go slow, find the twist in the upper abdomen, chest area, reach the right arm up. Back to center, nice and slow as or just as long as it took you to get there. Hands come together right in front of the heart, heels in, toes out a little bit. Press down to the legs, lift up through the chest at the same time. Keep the lift of the chest, bend the knees, wide-legged squat. Straighten the legs, come back up to standing, hands to the hips. Point the toes straight forward, angle in the left toes, turn the right toes all the way out. Warrior 2 facing the top of the mat. Flip the front palm up, reverse warrior. Exhale the hands down to the mat. Make your way back, downward facing dog with or without a vinyasa. And you can always modify vinyasas too. Left leg reaches up and back. Left knee, right tricep. Find that twist. Inhale back, three-legged down dog. Step that left foot all the way through, up between the hands. Hop the back foot in. So you seal both feet down on the mat. Warrior 1, arms forward and up. Maybe find that back bend. Warrior 2. So you lengthen the stance for your warrior 2. Warrior 1's going to have a shorter stance between the feet, and warrior 2 will be a little longer. Straighten that left leg, turn the left toes in. Find the legs here. So stand as tall as you can. Right hand, left foot. Slow, find that twist. Keep the chest open. Reach up with that left arm. Back to standing. So you feel those stabilizing muscles working for you as you come back up as steady as you can. Hands come together right in front of the heart, heels in, toes out just a little bit. Press down to the legs, lift up through the chest, bend the knees, wide-legged squat. Keep the belly lifted, tail long, chest lifted. Press back up to standing, toes point straight forward. Warrior 2, spread the arms out wide, angle in the right toes, turn the left toes all the way out. Flip the front palm, reverse warrior. Windmill the hands down to the mat, step back, down dog, stay here, or vinyasa. Bend the knees, look forward, bring the feet up between the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Chair pose, Utkatasana. all the way up to standing. Hands come together, down in front of the heart. So we'll go through that flow one more time, add on a little bit. Bring the feet all the way together, so big toes touch. Reach the arms all the way up, so Urdhva Hastasana. So squeeze the legs together, but think about the outer legs squeezing together. Hug that core in as you lift it. Keep the chest lifted, but shoulders right in place. Fingertips are still reaching up toward the sky. And as you squeeze those outer ankles together, come up high onto the balls of the feet. So you press down into the balls of the feet to lift the heels up as high as you possibly can. Keep that focal point drishti right in front of you, eye level. That's always best for balance. So when you look up, it's more challenging. And when you look down, it takes everything down. See if you can stand a little bit taller. And slowly bring the heels back down to the mat. You can separate them a little bit. You can keep the toes touching or go back to hip width distance with the feet. Chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Step back to downward facing dog. Stay there or vinyasa on the way. All right, here we go. Right leg reaches up and back. Right knee, left tricep. Stay here or roll onto the inner edge of the back foot. Extend that right leg forward and lift the left arm up. So you're pressing down into the feet to lift the hips up. You could play with lifting that right leg up, which is a whole lot of core. Don't worry if it's not happening. Left hand comes down, right leg reaches up and back. Back to three-legged down dog, wherever you are. Right foot steps up between the hands. Hop that back foot in. Warrior one. Open it up. Warrior two. Straighten the front leg. Turn those right toes in. Keep the arms wide, chest lifted. Left hand, right foot. Go slow. Back up to standing, just as slow. Hands together, right in front of the heart. Heels in, toes out a little bit. Press down into the legs, lift the chest. Now bend the knees wide. Sit down, wide-legged squat. Press back up to standing. Point the toes forward, angle in the left toes. Turn the right toes out. Warrior two. Flip the front palm up. Reverse warrior. Windmill the hands down to the mat. Any way you want, back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, lift the left leg up and back. Left knee, right tricep. Or roll onto the inner edge of the foot, extend that left leg forward. It's straight, reach the right arm up, press into the feet to lift the hips. Maybe you play with lifting that left leg up. You got to press down to the sole of the right foot to do it. And then back to three-legged down dog. Right hand down, left leg up and back. Left foot steps up between the hands. Hop that back foot in. Warrior one. So that was a whole lot of core there, but what's nice is you can start to feel it in the standing poses and how it informs your balance. Open up, warrior two. The transitions get a little bit smoother. You feel more connected to the whole body. Straighten the front leg, turn those left toes in. Right hand, left foot, go slow. Keep that core on and heated. Back up to standing, go slow. That's the work. Hands come together right in front of the heart, heels in, toes slightly out, bend the knees, wide-legged squat. So imagine you had your back up against the wall, the whole back would be touching. Back of the hips would be against the wall. straighten the legs, turn the toes to point forward, angle in the right toes, turn the left toes out, spread the arms out wide. Virabhadrasana 2. Flip the front palm up, reach up and back, reverse warrior. Windmill the hands down to the mat. Last vinyasa if you want one. Otherwise, hold downward facing dog. Stay there. Good. Once you get to downward facing dog, take child's pose, balasana. Set the knees down, bring the big toes together, rest. Still feeling that heat, that fire in the body. Using the breath to start to simmer down, come back to that balanced state of energy. Then you'll walk the hands in, bring the feet over to one side and come to seated on your mat. So extend the legs out in front of you, maybe scoot yourself forward a tiny bit so that you can lie down and still have the head on the mat. Start to walk the feet in, keep the feet hip width distance apart, toes point forward and stay in line with the knees. And then press into the heels to lift the hips up, coming into bridge pose. You can either grab the outer edges of the mat like you're going to rip it apart, get those shoulder blades underneath you and lift and spread the chest. Or if you're open enough, you can interlace the fingers underneath you. Keep looking up. Try not to look side to side. So the neck's in a precarious position, and we definitely want to continue to keep the gaze up and avoid any distractions that are on our sides. Slowly start to release. Bring the hips back down to the mat. Two more back bends. You can stick with bridge for the next 2 rounds. If you want to take something deeper and that's in your practice, you're welcome to do that too if you feel open enough for that. I'll talk you through bridge. Press into the heels, lift the hips up, back to bridge pose, set to Bandhasana. Maybe finding a higher lift and spreading of the chest and higher hips. So you want to press those hips up, tailbone goes up between the knees. So you keep the lower back nice and long. Slowly start to release on your exhale, bringing the hips back down. Once the hips touch, you rest. Let it all go. See how much you can let go of in a couple of breaths. Without any counter posing, we'll come into our 3rd round. Dig into the heels, lift the hips up. Final back bend of this practice. Where can you take it? Bringing energy into the body, into your day. And cracking that heart open so you're ready to receive everything the day has to offer. Take an inhale and slow exhale. Bring the hips back down to the mat. Rest. Hug the right knee in toward the chest. Leave that left foot on the mat. Extend the left leg forward. Keep hugging the right knee in. Taking this into a twist. Bring that right knee over to the left. You'll need to shift onto the side of the left hip. Right arm reaches back behind you. Gaze falls over the right arm if the neck's okay with that. So head, left hip, left foot in one line. Come on back onto center on your back. Use the feet to get there, both feet on the mat. Hug the left knee in toward the chest. Start here. Right foot stays on the mat for now. Extend the right leg forward. Keep hugging the left knee in. Right heel's just resting on the mat. Take this left knee across the body over to the right. Get onto the side of the right hip. Reach that left arm back behind you, finding your twist on this side. Finding your alignment too with the head, the hip, and that right foot. And we'll take this left hand, bring it all the way over to the right. So now you're lying on the right side of the body. You can bring the knees together and then use that left hand to press yourself up to seated. So facing forward. Once you get to seated, we'll take Batakanasana, bound angle pose. So soles of the feet together, knees wide. Maybe shift side to side so you feel even on the hips. And you can either grab the ankles and sit up tall. If the inner edges of the feet are right there and they're not too hard to reach, then you can grab them and then try to open up the feet like a book. That helps you get the knees down a little bit lower. So lift the chest on your inhale and start to hinge forward, putting some weight onto the hip opening. Elbows can flare out if you start to get down low enough, but you're just trying to find where your hips begin to open, stay there. Take the rounding out of the spine. So we won't be here that long. You want to keep this an active hip opening, but head and neck can release, eyes can close. Lengthening the inner thighs away from you. Slowly bring yourself back up to center. Use the hands to the outer knees to bring them back together. Extend the legs out in front of you. Toes point up. Reach the arms all the way up and fold down over the legs. Pashimotanasana. Seated forward fold. Let the hands touch down on something, whether that's the mat, the legs, the feet, only if they're right there. You don't have to take the shoulders with you to reach them. You can let the head and the neck go. Even here, still trying to take the rounding out of the upper back. Start to come back up to seated. Decide how you like to close your practice, a seated meditation, or come all the way down onto your backs and take Shavasana. Choose whichever one's calling to you. There is no, the best answers, whatever is going to help you stay still and set you up for a better day. Close the eyes wherever you are and start to drop in. You'll start to deepen the breath, bringing some awareness back into the body. If you're in your seated meditation, stay right where you are, stay still. If you're on your back in Shavasana, start to find some movement in the hands and the feet. Stretch the arms overhead, getting really long on your mat. And roll on over to your right side. Cradle the head and the arm, keep the eyes closed. You can stay there a moment. Use the left hand to press yourself up to your meditation seat, sitting up tall, eyes closed. Taking a couple of breaths here. Bring the hands together in front of you. Maintaining the lift of the chest, start to bow the head, taking another moment to yourself. Honor and acknowledge your heart and your spirit, as well as everyone around you. Bring the head back up, blink open the eyes. Namaste. Thank you.